Let's get ready to rumble!
Welcome to Boxing Unwrapped. It's Boxing Unwrapped, the boxing podcast that hits harder than Brexit. I'm Ryan.
I'm Andrew.
And welcome to our show, What the F is the Boxing News? Andy, do you want to tell the people what we've got in store for them?
Of course. So, adhering to our normal bi-weekly episode format, should I say? Now, is bi-weekly twice a week or once every 2 weeks? It's twice a week, isn't it?
Yeah, it's twice a week, yeah.
Twice a week, bi-weekly. So, in this episode, we've got What the F are the results from last week. We also will have What the F are the fights this weekend, and we've not been talking about it very much. The monster fight from this weekend. We've got a fairly chunky section on what the F went wrong last week, and quite a bit of random news, and then we will finish up with some grinds my gears, and I'm going positive once more.
Jesus Christ.
I know.
Right.
No, I'm not going to talk about him. I heard he's suspended on a drugs ban.
Oh, yeah, like, I don't know. I heard his cup man got suspended.
And some foreign objects in his hands, Ryan. That's what I heard.
Oh, fucking hell! Right, okay. Before we get banned by the Pope,
yeah.
Right.
Before we get crucified for that,
Oi! All right. Well, let's dive right in to what the F are the results from last week.
Is it fair to say? I'm just thinking about this. Going through all of the fights that we're going to talk about, is it fair to say that there is not one surprise? It is fair to say that.
Yeah, it is fair to say that, actually.
It's fair to say that every boxing match that we're going to mention went exactly as you thought it would in terms of the result, but not necessarily the process.
Interesting. Well, maybe we should have a little chat, first of all, about Daniel Dubois versus Razvan Kojanu.
Go on. You're a big Dubois fan, are you?
I'm a fan. Do you know what? What a limbering mess Daniel Dubois is, right?
Very scathing. He's only young.
He is only young, but he's. I think he needs to get a lot better very quickly if he's ever going to challenge any of the top 10, actually. I don't think he would stand a chance against your boy Kaunaki, actually.
No,
I think Kaunaki would knock him.
Kaunaki.
Yeah, but he'd fucking knock him spark out, I think. Because, actually, that Kojanu was not a very good boxer. He was definitely, I would say, worse than Kevin Johnson. Daniel Dubois knocked him out, but, like, he's got a really awkward style, Daniel Dubois. He looks like he's thinking too hard about what he's trying to achieve. It's not fluid.
His brain hurt. Yeah, I think it's inexperience. I don't know. He's not the kind of most elegant looking. I noticed on the commentary, I think it might have been Richie Woodall, says that he still looks like he's kind of like pushing his punches.
Yeah.
He's not very snappy.
Yeah. No, he's not. He doesn't. He just doesn't wow me. I don't know.
You should fight Joe Joyce. That would be hilarious.
Oh man, just like softly patting each other. It'd be like a tickle fight.
Just stand there like punching each other but having like very limited impact.
Yeah, like the knockouts seemed to come from nowhere as well.
It did. It did, and he got he got, well, I didn't really, Kojanu didn't have any weight behind it, but he was he had to be very, very open to land it. You know, he got caught like really nicely as he was kind of going to land it, but Kojanu didn't have any punch power.
Yeah.
Is it worth saying that the other highly touted British prospect Gorman went their distance with Kojanu? He outboxed him like super comprehensively, but he didn't get anywhere. He didn't look like any point like he was going to knock him out. So, you know, and there are people are comparing Gorman and Dubois. So, like, Dubois has made a bit of a statement in terms of knocking him out. And obviously everyone said Kojanu went 12 rounds with Parker as well.
Yeah, he did.
So I don't know.
But,
Dubois matched Ortiz, didn't he, by knocking him out in the second? But I mean, Cojanu was there to be hit. Crikey, he was immobile. He was like a tree.
Yeah, totally. And like this is the thing as well. When you're comparing fighters, and saying, okay, well, Daniel Dubois knocked out Cojanu. Cojanu went 12 rounds with Parker. But you're not comparing the same fighter.
No,
you're comparing a fighter with more engine, like more miles on the clock. You know, he's older. You know, you don't know what sort of camp he's had. Like maybe he didn't run as good a camp. He didn't look
great, did he?
He didn't look great. He didn't look great. He did, you know, like the first bell didn't go, and I went, "Oh, Daniel Dubois is going to be tested here."
No, he looked out of shape, but yeah. I don't know. Anyway,
moving swiftly on to a man who does not look out of shape, though, Mr. Anthony. What the fuck is that boy on Yard?
He looks like he's been chiseled out of granite, does he?
Fucking Christ! I took a look at him. I was like, "What the fuck are you made of, son?" Like, this boy is definitely not in the clean boxing program. No fucking chance.
No, you can't say that. I think it's just genetics, man. But he does have like, he's got the very classic like wedge shape of like you know the kind of optimal body shape. I mean, he looks enormous. Like the top of his like back and shoulders and stuff. He's this enormous wedge, isn't he?
Yeah.
He's just hanging muscle. Like he's just enormous.
But the thing I would say about his fight against Travis Reeves is, Travis Reeves actually surprised Anthony Yard quite a bit, I think, in the first few rounds. You know, I think although it was a stoppage and Yard did break Reeves down, I think he actually tested Yard a lot more than most people would have thought would have happened.
I don't know. I think he hit him maybe more, and he was more aggressive than more people thought. But I don't think I don't think Yard ever looked flustered. I thought Yard looked pretty. I know you probably. I don't think you feel like as positive about him as I think I do, but I thought he looked like really quite composed, and he definitely carries power. I don't know what will happen when he's up against someone with some power as well. I think that's the question.
Well, the chat is Kovalev.
I think I don't understand the rush because he's young, and as he keeps saying, he's had like however many, was it 12 or was it 20 something amateur fights, and he's had however many. I think he's mid-20s as well. I think agreeing again. I think it was Woodall said it. He talks a lot of sense, that boy. But like, why not have like? There's too big a gap for me between world title level and Reeves, who he just fought, and he needs to have someone to bridge that gap as a next fight that he can be like, oh well, I should be able to beat them, but they're going to challenge me more and they're going to give me a bit of prep for what will be the step up to one of the world champions. I don't understand why you have to rush it. What you gain by rushing it, because he's not got loads of miles on the clock and he's not old, so give him another fight. In between it, will just build the hype for it, and he's a big, he's like a big hyped guy because he looks the part, and everyone's chatting about him and stuff. Give him one more fight. I'd give him a fight against the top 10 ranked guy, and then fight Kovalev. And if you do that as well, Kovalev's on the slide, is he? Because he's 35, 36. So you've got like another like maybe % or 2 decline in Kovalev's fighting performance because he's getting older. So not only do you get better because you got more experience, but your opponent's probably going to be slightly worse because they're already over the top of the hill and they're on the way down. Yeah. So, I'll manage him. There you go. That's what to do.
Well, and the listeners on the Facebook page, 67% believe Yard is not ready for a fight against Kovalev at this stage.
Yeah, so I agree with that. I think it's like it's too much of an unknown. I think Yard's a real like prospect, but I don't see the risk. I don't see the advantage in taking that big a risk. I don't see what the timing requirement to do it this soon would be. Give him one more fight at least.
Yeah. Now Liam Williams versus Joe Mullender. Interesting for the wrong reasons.
It was a mismatch, was it? And then Yeah.
The referee, man. The referee was in a bad way. Like, so for those of you who haven't seen it, actually, all of these fights are available on the BT Sport Boxing YouTube page. Full fights you can watch, by the way, for free. But Joe Mullender, like, he's been knocked. He's spark out on his feet. The referee lets Liam Williams come back in, and Liam Williams just fucking ends Joe Mullender. I mean, to be honest, like, he didn't need to fucking crack him spark out, I think.
Not like that. It was weird, though. It was like he was really fired up about it, because he did it, and then he's, like, super, like, going at the referee for allowing it to continue. But, I mean, I think it's right that the referee should have stopped it. I think what he's saying is correct, but, like... I don't know if he'd gain a lot by having a go at the referee, and also he could have just hit Mullen. I know this is not the boxer's responsibility, but he could have hit him like a couple of times to make sure he was gonna be stopped, but he didn't have to like land on him if he thought he was out, you know, or he thought he wasn't able to defend himself. He didn't need to. He hit him as hard. As quickly as he could, you know, that was a mega punch. It was the sort of punch you're never going to land against an undazed opponent, because he wound it up from 8 feet away, did he?
Yeah, totally. He ran from the neutral corner and punched the guy in the face.
It was
fucking
proper,
wild,
like, Hollywood effort. But because he was so stunned, but I mean, you think, well, the referee surely, if the referee had made him walk. Mullender walk, you know, a little bit, he would have seen how unsteady he was. Surely, it looked really obvious that he wasn't fit to continue.
It makes me wonder if it makes me wonder if referees should have some level of medical training to be able to identify like the telltale signs of someone being kind of like severely concussed or whatever.
It's a good question. I'd be curious to know if there are like kind of indicators in terms of guidance. I know the thing about like walking and they ask them whether they're okay, but what are they? Yeah, I wonder if we can do some research or speak to someone to say what is it that they're looking for to indicate to them that a fighter is fit to continue. You know, you saw the thing with like Fury and Wilder, and he made him walk back and forth. I think if the ref had made Mullender walk back and forth a step or two, he would have known that he wasn't steady enough to continue. I think he would have waved it off. And it's just a shame he didn't, because it was a sort of punch that he then took that's then like, oh, it's one of these ones that, you know, potentially, is it something that's going to like leave some lasting damage? It was a brutal knock out. Yeah. It was horrific. It was really bad.
Now, Fox Saturday night, Sean Porter versus Yordenis Ugas. Man, your boy Porter, fuck me. You know, here's me last week saying like, boy's fucking Superman. He was real lucky. Like, Ugas was up for the fight, although he was showboating a bit too much. I think he actually probably should have concentrated a little bit more on the job rather than his showboating to like wind Porter up. Because Sean Porter was, I think, to be honest, if it wasn't in the States or whatever, I think there would have been a chance that actually could have gone the other way.
Yeah, it was very controversial, and certainly I think one of the referees that awarded the last round to Porter to make it on his card 115-113, and that should have been, he awarded that round like definitely incorrectly, like it wasn't Porter's round, and that would have made it a split draw. As it was, the cards were 117-111 for Ugas, 116-112, and 115-113 for Porter. So it's really like bizarrely split cards as well, isn't it? Where you've got one judge giving 5 points to Ugas and one judge giving 4 to Porter. You know, it's crazy. It's, you know, like different judges looking for different things, etc., etc.
Absolutely, you know, and there was a lot of chat as well about Porter changing his fighting style for this fight, and because he did actually, he was, you know, he wasn't as aggressive as we've seen him.
Ugas is rangy, isn't he? And he kept him. I've got a feeling I'm horribly pronouncing his name, but anyway, he's rangier. He was a rangier fighter, and he managed to keep Porter at bay for quite a lot. But I don't know. I know Porter. I was not convinced when Porter won his title. I didn't think. I will mention titles and stuff this week, and then we'll stop from next week. Okay. And if you don't know
yeah.
what we're talking about, you won't, because we haven't released the episode that we've just recorded. Mindfuck.
Oh shit. Mindfuck. Now, yeah, like basically you have to listen into this week's episode later in the week to find out why we are not going to be mentioning titles anymore.
After this week.
After this episode.
We're not going to spring on you too much, but yeah, after this week. Anyway, I thought Porter was lucky when he when he got the decision against Garcia to win his belt. And he's certainly been reasonably lucky to get the victory there as well.
Efe Ajagba versus Amir Mansour.
Ajagba, he went to work. He went
he did.
work.
Yeah,
I like
he fucking
it.
put a shift in, man.
He looks good. But you can't tell. Mansour's like getting on. He's had a couple too many hammer blows to the head. I think now. I think he's quit before he starts doing himself some lasting damage. He's getting on too much to be getting to be a highlight reel for the next top prospect. I think I think he needs to stop.
Yeah.
But Ajagba looked really good and knocked him down. I think I can't remember now. I did watch it, but he knocked him down a couple of times, and then the ref stopped it after the second round. He's like, Mansour, no more.
Mansour, you're out.
You're out. Stay sat in your stool, son.
Yeah. The Verona, New York card, DAZN Sky Sports. Let's talk about your boy, Dimitri Bivol.
You know he's my boy. So, Bivol beat Joe Smith Jr. to retain his title by a country mile on points. Wide unanimous decision. And for 99.9% of the fight, he looks like he's such an easy on the eye boxer. He just does everything. He's got he's a great judge of distance. He's got really easy power. He seems to have really good shot selection. He's really kind of mobile, moving off in different directions. So his defense is really, really good. And he just made Smith mess all the time. I think Joe Smith's punch accuracy, I know, again, punch stats, pinch of salt. I know, don't be a hater. But I think Joe Smith's punch accuracy was 10%.
Yeah.
Which is super, super low. Bivol just didn't let him hit him and was just picking him off, picking his punches. Looked like he had more gears to go up. Except I think it was at the very end of the 10th. And Joe Smith Jr. lands a really big right. And Bivol is visibly wobbled, and I think he was very lucky that it was basically the punch landed on the bell for the end of the round. But he still looked a bit cagey when he came out after the minute, and he kind of he kind of stayed backed off, or when Smith came charging and he grabbed him to give himself more recovery time, and he admitted as much after the fight that he was hurt. But I think that aside, he looked really, really proficient. And I like him a lot. He's not big for a light heavy though, and he said that himself as well.
Yeah.
He's saying he has breakfast on weigh-in day. That's what he said.
Fucking hell, man.
I know.
Maybe he's fibbing. Morris Hooker versus Michael Lespierre.
Yeah, not very exciting. I don't think really. He retains his title, wins a dominant unanimous decision.
Overmatched all the way. A side, B side. Callum Johnson versus Sean Monahan. What a way to come back, man! What a way to come back. You know,
so it was a good fight. It was good matchmaking by Hearn, really, wasn't it? Because it's Monahan's a name. He's quite he's well known stateside. Bill Johnson's profile, and he was also kind of custom made for him in terms of style. So Johnson could just go and smash him up, get him out of there. Third round knockdown. Nice. Talking about, they don't know what will happen in the future, but one of the things that could happen, because they're both on DAZN, is Johnson could get to fight, potentially he could fight Bivol.
Don't fancy it. I don't fancy it. I think he needs to stay away from Bivol for as long as he possibly can.
I think most people do. I want to see Bivol fight one of the other. Anyway, I want to see Bivol fight one of the other top guys now.
Right, well, let's move on to what the F are the fights this weekend.
Quite interesting. Boxing across 3 days.
Yeah.
Stateside. Nice, isn't it? It's nice. Friday night, the card from Philly on DAZN in the States and Sky in the UK.
Yep.
Tevin Farmer defending his IBF super featherweight title versus John O'Carroll, and I don't think many people are giving Carroll much of a prayer in this one. No. Certainly the bookies aren't.
No way. Farmer is going to absolutely destroy him within a couple of rounds.
Ooh, controversial. Possibly true. And probably more interesting in terms of significance also on the fight card, Katie Taylor versus Rose Valenti, a unification of the lightweight WBA, IBF and WBO lightweight titles all on the line.
And what I don't understand is why this hasn't had more coverage in the UK. It's big fucking news. But I think they're really trying to push Katie Taylor in the States, like to make her a big star in the States, I think.
Because you've got the kind of like Irish starting point, don't you, for notoriety in the States? Or like, kind of like Irish community or Irish origin community. I don't know how you quite describe it, but do you know what
Diaspora?
I mean? There you go. Diaspora.
Yeah.
So you've got like a starting point for notoriety that you can then kind of spread from. She's very heavily favoured for
by a long shot. Yeah. Now Saturday night, going on to Sunday morning.
Saturday night, Sunday. Are you going to stay up? Or are you going to record it?
I'm going to record it, man. I'm going to record it. Like, just it's too much of an ask for me, I think.
These days, too much, too hard.
Far too hard.
You've got a dog to get up in the morning.
I do, man. I've got a wee puppy. Ted needs his breakfast in the morning, and so do I. But he'll sit and watch it with me, and he enjoys the boxing. Does
he?
Yeah, he does. Yeah, he's a good boy. He's a good boy.
Very obedient. So anyway, what's the boxing that you're gonna watch on Sunday morning with your lapdog?
Oh, Spence v Garcia, free on ITV4 in the UK, Fox Sports. If you're in America, IBF welterweight, and I think this is going to be real good.
I hope it's real good. I have more hope than expectation. My hope is that it's really super competitive, and Garcia's managed to put on enough weight in enough of the right way to let his boxing skills kind of shine, and he'll be competitive. My expectation is that he's not going to have enough power to trouble Spence, and he's going to get kind of bullied around the ring a bit. That's my concern.
Yeah, it's a shame. Really, like, he has managed to go up weights in the past.
But he's gone up 2, isn't he? This is gone up 2 weight divisions. I really, really hope it's a good fight. Do you remember back in the day, Ryan? Back in the day, when there was the whole thing about all the boxing from the States and the deal with ITV that it was going to be broadcast across in the UK. And we said, like, well, if there's one fight from the whole raft that they've released that would potentially be a pay-per-view offering, it was going to be this one. And the fact that it's not, and it's on ITV4 for free, is just indicating that, really, there's not enough people in the UK that would be interested in this, that would pay for it. But, like, also that it's going to give us this, like, extra raft of boxing, including, as this one undoubtedly is, some pretty high level stuff. Whatever way you cut it, these are 2 of the best. These are 2 pound for pounds, like, no question.
Definitely.
So this is a superb fight. I'm really looking forward to it. I just hope the fight doesn't disappoint.
We've also on the card, we've got everyone's favourite cokehead David Benavidez versus Jalen Love.
Yeah.
He's back from his drug ban and he's fucking meaning business. 10-rounder at super middle, so let's hope his heart holds out.
That's why it's 10, not 12. I'm joking. Non-title fight, alright, I know.
Yeah.
Also appearing on the card, I can't remember who they're fighting, it's Luis Neri and Chris the Nightmare Areola. They're both fighting on the undercard. It's a pretty shit undercard, to be honest.
Yeah.
They've saved all the pennies for the main event, haven't they?
Yeah, totally. 100%.
Pretty balls.
Sunday night. Whoa, man. What the fuck?
Yeah, Box Nation getting back in the game.
Yeah, they're not handing this one off to BT Sport, which, to be honest, I think is weird, actually.
Well, if they did, then everyone the remaining 12 of us who have a Box Nation subscription would just be like, I'm done, I'm out.
Yeah.
On the 30th of March, they've also got Gvozdik versus Ngumbu.
Ooh.
Which, from Philadelphia, which is the... Gvozdik, I'm definitely not pronouncing his name right. He was Adonis Stevenson's conqueror, if you remember.
Yeah.
So he's now the lineal light heavyweight champion and defending against Ngumbu. So that's pretty decent. Although I don't know Ngumbu, if he's like at 37, is he going to be much? He's going to be a mega underdog for that fight. But anyway, it's a world title fight. So they've got the one we just spoke about, and then that one in on the end of the month. So they're not quite abandoned ship yet, but
it's close.
They are definitely shipping water.
But okay, so we'll tell you about the card though. So we've got Michael Conlon versus Ruben Garcia Hernandez.
About the fucking card.
So featherweight from New York. We've got Jesse Magdaleno versus Christopher Diaz. And we've also got Luis Collazo versus Samuel lost against Amir Khan Vargas.
Yeah, I think the last one on the list is certainly, it's like the sort of names where you go, oh yeah, I know who they are.
Yeah, oh yeah, I know who he is. Yeah, he lost from him, didn't he? Yeah.
Yeah, did he? So. Who is it that beat him? That's it.
Yeah, like, totally.
Now who beat him again? Who is it that he lost to?
Yeah, I remember that name. Didn't he get knocked out by something fucking ridiculous? Yeah, that kind of shit. Cool. So that's your fights for for this weekend. It's going to keep you pretty busy. But let's move on to what the F went wrong last week.
Yeah, and Ryan, for you, my friend, I have a clanger.
What's that?
Do you know what it is?
What?
You misspell on the subject line or the title of the podcast. You misspelt Luis Ortiz.
Oh, you're joking.
There's no O in Luis within Luis Ortiz. It's not Louis Ortiz. It's Luis Ortiz.
Ah, fuck. Well, I can actually edit that. That's no problem. This is the beauty of technology.
Right. You can do that now. Sometime afterwards, after the episode's aired.
Right. Okay. Fuck.
Don't worry about it.
I wasn't going to lose sleep.
Don't lose sleep. Just lose the O.
You just lose the O. Done.
Just lose the O. Okay. The other thing we spoke about last week was about Kazakhstani boxers and about how, because they came up, I think, in that when you talked about that website about successful amateur ones.
Yeah.
So I had a look for professional Kazakhstani boxers, and the most famous ones are obviously Triple G.
Yes.
Zanat Zakinyov, which was the one who I was struggling for the name last week, the one that fought under Ricky Hatton. The mega prospect Daniyar Yelusinov, who I think is signed to Matchroom. I've got a feeling Matchroom / DAZN. I think he's an Olympic gold winner, and he is going to be. He's like super highly touted, but they're in terms of like professional trailblazers, as far as I could see, they're pretty thin on the ground.
Right. Okay.
I've got another one for you.
What's that?
There's a bit where I say, "Oh, cut all this bit out," and you left it in again.
Do you know what? Like, I think I didn't really hear it when I first went because it wasn't actually like. I don't think there was anything bad about it. I think you just said, "Oh, I'll cut this out," and then there wasn't anything bad. I think that's why.
Every time I say, can you cut a bit out, like as in while we're recording and I make a stumble, I'm always on tenterhooks listening back to it to know whether you've done it or not.
You need to send me timestamps, man. That's how
I think you did it to tease me.
Yeah.
You try to like dull my professionalism. It won't work, damn it. Do you remember I thought Manuel Char killed someone? Yeah. Well, I hope he doesn't sue me or actually try and kill me, because that's not true. He didn't try and kill someone. He was nearly killed himself. He got shot while he was out at dinner with a rapper.
Right, okay.
Not by the rapper, but someone else shot him. And he was charged with attempted murder relating to a knife fight that he was in. I mean, honest to Christ. But the charges against him were dropped due to lack of evidence.
Well, always good.
Manuel Char's, he's dodgy. I think he's very dodgy.
Yeah, I think he is.
The next two little bits that we have Neil to thank for correcting us on our forms of martial art.
Yeah.
Khabib Nurmagomedov, Conor McGregor's conqueror, practiced in his youth the Russian combat wrestling called Sambo. And as you aptly named it, Brazilian dance fighting is actually called capoeira. So thank you, Neil, for those corrections.
Yeah, exactly. But, like, I did tell you were like, no, that's not a thing. I was like, it fucking is. Brazilian dance fighting.
I said it's not called Brazilian dance fighting, is what I said.
Well. Yeah, but capoeira in Brazilian is Brazilian dance fighting.
Fuck off. I thought it was a cocktail.
No, you're thinking of a Cobra Libre.
No.
That's a rum and coke.
No, I was thinking of a caipirinha, but it was a joke. It was
right.
supposed to be close enough that it would be obvious what the joke... Oh, man.
Oh, right, okay. I'll leave that bit in, though.
Oh, cheers. You're the one that looks ignorant about Brazilian cocktails, my friend, so leave it in if you want. You're the one that will look like a right mug. The Brazilian equivalent of rum is called cachaça, I think, as well. Okay. Just while we're getting into
we're on it.
Can you tell I've not had a drink for 2.5 months? It's not at all playing in my mind.
You can fucking taste it.
Everything looks like a cocktail. I've just started going into the supermarket and licking the beer cans.
To be fair, I can't actually remember the last time I had a beer.
Oh, shut your face.
Okay.
Honestly.
Yeah.
I'm wasting away.
I know, but you know what? I might have a beer this weekend with the rugby.
Oh, you should.
It's because we're going to get absolutely fucking pumped.
People could be listening to this at any point over the past 6 weeks, and that statement would have been equally true.
Yeah.
From a Scotland perspective, it seems like at least we're not getting the wooden spoon, but it seems like we've regressed. Anyway, I think
it's due to injuries. It's due to injuries and stuff. Actually, to be honest,
it's due to being poop at rugby as well. That's slightly relevant.
Yeah, it does. It doesn't help. Right. Well, on that point, let's move on to random news.
I saw an article on Boxing News Online, and it was about these training devices that you can get for cheap, which do record your punch numbers during a training session. And I thought it was quite interesting because obviously we talked about it before. So the technology, they were like £80 or something, which is buttons, is it?
It's nothing, if you can improve your training.
So I thought that was quite interesting. So I thought we'd flag that. Quite good.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk about the now confirmed card at the O2 in, I don't know when it is. I'm so disinterested.
April 20th. Hell fucking yes, I do.
Go on then.
Hell's yes. Dave Allen versus Lucas Brown for none of the marbles.
Those two don't have any marbles.
No, they don't. But you know what? Actually, I was kind of thinking about this, and the card itself is it's a showcase for undercards. So you've got Allen Brown, you've got Chisora versus Gashi. You've got Nigel Benn fighting, Joe Cordinas fighting.
Do you mean Conor Benn?
Conor Benn. Did I say Nigel Benn?
You did. That's his dad, Ryan.
Yeah, that's his dad. He might be fighting too. It's a shit fucking card. But like, I think actually, just for the casual fan, I think the Alan Brown fight is going to be pretty good, actually. And I'd like to see Chisora 2.0. Now he's changed trainer to be in Dave Caldwell's stable. I'd like to see how that's maybe affected him. You know?
Yeah. No. I know I hear what you're saying. I'm only very vaguely interested in this card. I don't know. It just doesn't. I don't know. It's just not very. I'm just looking up as we're speaking. I have interest because, of course, I've never heard of him. Senad Gashi. And I'm reassured that Chisora will have a live opponent because he is ranked as highly as 18th within Germany as a heavyweight. So, I mean, he must be good.
Well, yeah. I mean, who knows? But, like...
Well, we do know he's not very good. I don't think he's very good, Ryan. I think that's the problem.
Yeah,
At the old boxing. Don't think he's very good at the old boxing as our friend Senad Gashi.
To be fair, I just kind of think like it's an interesting card, man. I think it's an interesting card in the regard that like it'll be a nice, fun little evening of boxing, watching some fights.
It will. I think it'll be entertaining. Yeah.
We also have to flag up. This friend of the podcast, boxer Hannah Rankin, is actually going to be fighting for a world title in Paisley. So her fight is going to be against Sarah Curran in June for the vacant IBO Super Welterweight title. Yeah, so it's just been announced. So good luck, Hannah Rankin.
Good luck, Hannah.
Yeah.
Which is good. I'm sure you'll be fine. I'm sure you'll do it.
Of course.
Good.
Let's chat a little bit here, but not too much. There's been a fight announced. Wilder versus Brazil.
Has it been announced?
Well, yeah, it's been ordered by the...
No, well, right, okay, but the actual, like... the
date and stuff. No, but okay. It's been ordered.
It's gonna happen.
It's been ordered by the WBC, and I urge everyone to go on the WBC's website and read the garbled logic that they wrote as to why they've called Brazil as the mandatory.
Yeah, it's pretty special.
It's pretty special. It's kind of like, well, actually, he was supposed to be the mandatory before when we said that Wilder could take a voluntary defense of his title against Fury, and then we said it was okay if they had the rematch, but the rematch isn't happening, so actually Brazil is still the mandatory, even though we ordered a fight against White to see who the mandatory was going to be. It's all real fucking weird logic.
Yeah, it's pretty. And the thing to bear in mind all the way through this is at no point has Brazil done anything in terms of boxing results that in any way justifies him being a mandatory contender for any of the governing bodies.
No.
His career best win is Molina, who's not very good.
No.
So
it's a fucking disgrace, but
go figure. Go
figure.
Anyway, the one thing you can say, and the one thing that's good about this, is that Brazil gets his fight. He will almost certainly lose because he's not very good, and then this whole saga about him hanging on for 2 years, probably the best part of 2 years, to get this fight. This has then been put to bed, and he kind of slides off into obscurity, having had a reasonable payday and having had his level well and truly exposed for a second time after Joshua destroyed him without basically taking a hit a few years ago. So we see the end of Brazil, we see this particular mandatory obligation, blah, 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 fulfilled and removed. So until they manage to put something else in its place to muddy the water again, then at least it removes one of the less appealing kind of sticking points.
And the question that I would like to ask is, how the fuck can he be a mandatory when he's not ranked number 1? Just saying.
I don't know how they met. I don't know. I also saw something that said that someone was saying that the pay-per-view, this would be like $100 on pay-per-view, and Espinosa came back saying, the Showtime honcho, saying, oh, well, that will not be, if it is pay-per-view, that will be not, the price point won't be anything like that. But he wasn't dismissing the idea that it would be pay-per-view. He didn't come out and say this will not be a pay-per-view fight. I don't know, 2 American fighters, it's a terrible fight. I think it'll be a terrible fight, but whether or not it would be a pay-per-view, I don't know. I don't think they should. I think it's exploitative if they do it. Anyway, I'll be curious to see what happens in terms of how it ends up.
Agree. Absolutely agree.
Did you hear the other news about Wilder?
No? Which one?
Well, they're chatting that there's a potential for him. Is he becoming, or he's going to be a free agent, about signing for DAZN?
Well, then that fight against AJ would have to happen then.
Yeah, well, apparently there's a chat that like they're now much more likely to fight by the end of the year than they were. Heard's making lots of positive noises about it, apparently.
Well, and you know he's got Golovkin now as well. Golovkin's signed DAZN.
Do you know what occurred to me? I'm sure everyone else was a bit quicker on the uptake than I was, but like what they've done is, you know how PBC have like got all the welterweights, all of the top welterweights. So they've done the same. So now they've got Canelo, Golovkin, Jacobs, Andrade. They're like cornering the middleweights. So all of the middleweights will be DAZN. I'm sure that's very, very deliberate strategy.
Yeah. Also, real interesting stuff, and quite timely actually, because Neil brought this up on the Facebook page after I posted about the Wilder Brazil like bullshit. Teddy Atlas has come out and said, make boxing like the UFC if you want the best fights to happen. So he's basically saying like you have to look at the UFC and you have to change the way that fights are dictated by the governing bodies and not by TV companies and not by promoters. You know, this is you have a network for a sanctioning body and you fight on this network or you don't fucking fight.
It's interesting. Yeah, we've spoken about that before, about what would the difference in the models and how it means that the organisation is able to dictate more strongly because it's a monopoly in UFC versus the competing factions in boxing. But yeah, it's interesting. Interesting point.
So,
more random news.
Yes, always.
More. Anthony Ogogo retired. He's finally decided he can't do it. Well, yeah. So he's been doing lots of like rehab, and he's had like multiple eye operations to try and restore, so he could box again. But I think it's been unsuccessful. And he's had other injuries as well. He's decided that he can't do it. I think he's young to retire, but he's been plagued by injuries, so he quit. And the other one that I kind of dropped a little bit of my jaw on the floor. The Crawford Can fight. Pay-per-view in the UK on BT Sport.
Fuck off.
Does that somehow feel a bit left field?
It's ridiculous. Ridiculous.
I'd be curious to see, although we will never know, as we now know, we'll never know how many people will pay in the UK to stay up and watch that. We'll never know.
Fucking stream that off YouTube.
It will definitely not be me. I will not be staying up to pay for that.
No.
To say for the 3 rounds that Can last, and it looks good for the first 30 seconds, in and out. Oh, so fast. Oh, he's been knocked down. He's been knocked down. A shame. Not a hater, just saying. And I think I don't have any more random news. Do you have any more random news?
No, that's me.
Okay.
Good stuff.
Concise. Not really.
Some. There's just a lot of news.
So. There's always a lot of news. We don't cover half of it.
Right. Well, let's move on, Andy. Since you've already foreshadowed, do you want to tell me this week what's floating your boat?
I do. And it's not going to come as a big surprise that what floats my boat is Dimitri Bivol. Because I have a soft spot for him, right? But it's not how he performed in the fight, although I thought apart from sucking up the big punch, I thought he boxed pretty masterfully against a dangerous and bigger opponent. But what I really, really liked was what he said and the way he said it in a post-fight interview. Mm-hmm. So I just want to read out some of the quotes, some of the things that he said, and then say kind of why I like them. So in reference to the big punch that got landed him at the end of the 10th, which definitely wobbled him, I a little bit lose my balance. I saw this punch, but I didn't have enough time to react. And then he went on to say, maybe if I had had enough experience. And then he went on to say, in terms of the conclusion of the fight, he said, in the end of the fight, I felt I can knock him down, but it's not my goal. I want to show the good fight with good defense, intelligent boxing, because not only power can make good fights. I just ended this fight and want to relax, but I'm ready to fight for another belt. It doesn't matter for me who it will be. I want a big fight to be remembered in the sport and to give a good fight and intelligent boxing to the fans. Get that? Honest,
nice.
Concise, reflective, not boastful, not agenda pushing, just being like, this is the reality of what happened. Mm-hmm. This is kind of where I want to go. These are my objectives. Just being like totally upfront, totally transparent, totally honest, and like kind of considered in what they're saying. That's what you want. Apart from being, the only other thing you want them to be is like put in some funny, be funny as well, and then you've got like a really good interview, But just to come across and to say those things in the way he said them, I think it's so different than how a lot of boxers will be like so unreflective or so like kind of not have the self-awareness to talk in those kind of terms.
Mm-hmm. I know what you mean.
I liked it a lot, and I like the fact he's saying, I want to show them intelligent boxing, and everyone knows it's obvious he didn't chase a knockout. He could have knocked him out, but it's like at least he's saying, it's not what I'm here. I'm here to build a legacy. I'm not here to like knock a guy out in the last round. It's not my goal. And just be honest about it. Brilliant. Like it a lot. Good chat from Bivol. He goes up in my estimation, but he's already quite high. There we go.
Such a hard on for him.
I do a wee bit.
Yeah.
Quite a fan. He might fight your boy, apparently. Super middleweight, Callum Smith.
Well, I think Callum Smith's just too big. It's just too big.
Well, I think they would. I don't know what height Bivol is. He's probably slightly shorter, but I mean, probably weight-wise, they would be pretty similar. And Bivol's got some silky skills. I would like to see. I think that would be a great fight. I think they need to build it a bit more. I don't think it would get necessarily the media attention it would deserve. It would be one for boxing fans, but it's not got enough breakout appeal yet, I don't think.
Yeah.
But it'd be a great fight.
It would be.
That would be really good. So, Ryan, I'm assuming that I know which way you're going, but I'd like to give you the opportunity to tell me this week what grinds your gears.
You know what really grinds my gears?
Right, dude. I'm gonna tell you. I'm gonna tell you what grinds my gears this week, right? And it's this fucking Dominic Breazeale fucking saga, right? And like, I think, like, we've spoken over the last few weeks about the World Boxing Council, their lack of stewardship with of the sport, but it's just a joke now for them to pull this shit. Like, as much as like Dillian White sometimes gets on my fucking tits, I do actually like think that he's been real fucking hard done by in this scenario, because he has every fucking right to be fighting for the title against Wilder. If they're going to be calling for someone, he's ranked number one in their own ratings, right? He has their silver belt as well, which he's paying sanctioning fees to the WBC, right?
Yeah.
Dominic Brazil is rated 4th. So Tyson Fury is 2nd, Luis Ortiz is 3rd. How can Dominic Brazil be 4th? And it's only because they're trying to protect Deontay Wilder. That's it. It doesn't have anything to do with, this kind of backwards logic of he was once the mandatory and didn't get his shot, so now he gets it. Bullshit. It's because that Deontay Wilder is going to knock Dominic Brazil, spark the fuck out, retain his title, and you're, hopefully going to get, sanctioning fees for the Tyson Fury fight.
Another mega fight.
Yeah, another mega fight. That's it. They don't want to risk the golden goose of the Tyson Fury Deontay Wilder rematch. That's it.
Simples.
And it's real simples. And, no wonder no one fucking cares about boxing when you've got these fucking clowns involved.
They're not good for the sport. But yeah, I totally agree with you. And the only positive, which I mentioned before, that I think the takeaway from this is that once it's done, it's done. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So rather than it like hanging in the background for however many months, at least now you're gonna fight when in the summer, and then it's done, and the whole Brazil gate goes away, and it's like he'll no longer be relevant, and it's one less kind of like mediocre fighter that's it's somehow in the mix. So I think that's the only. I agree with you. It's just like, well, waste of time. But at least once it's done, it's done.
Exactly, and I mean they're having to take this back to the Brazil Molina bout, saying that that's when he became the WBC heavyweight mandatory. Now,
Which doesn't even make sense because
that was November 4th, 2017. Right? We're now sitting in March 2019. That is not fucking relevant in any way. There's a lot of shit has happened since 2017, man.
Even then, it's true. Even then, that should not have been an elimination. Like those two did not deserve to be fighting like an eliminator for a mandatory status. Like, why did you give it to them? They're both like not beating anyone and are not very good. It's like why are they competing to be mandatory? It makes no sense.
Yeah. It's just ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. So, anyway, that's what grinds my gears this week. Fuck you, WBC. Suck my dick, I'm out.
Very passionate, Ryan.
Very passionate. Let's just do a little bit of listener corner. I want to give a shout out to everyone who's been getting involved on the Facebook page recently. It's it's some real good chats going down, some good shit. Thank you for getting involved. Also, Neil left us a review on Podbean, where we host our podcasts, and some people listen to our podcast through Podbean. You can actually leave reviews on there, so please, if that's how you listen to us, leave a review there. Make sure that wherever you listen to it, if it's possible to leave a review, you leave a review, or you do it on the Facebook page. Just help a brother out.
Hear. Thanks, guys.
Cool. So with that, guys, please, listen out for our topic of the week, which is going to be coming later this week. Who the F are the Transnational Boxing Rankings Board? Where you'll find out why Andy and I aren't going to be mentioning titles anymore.
Boom. We're out.
We're out. So with that in mind, it's goodbye from me, Ryan.
And goodbye from me, Andrew.